Hello. I laughed because I'm not sure if y'all heard what I heard, but it sounded like some double stuff going on. I don't know. Um, I'm I'm hearing something weird. Okay, here we go. So for those of you that uh see the show, we're so I gotta take this out. For those of you that um watch the show before, you guys know that I always start off with my sponsors. And so, since we start off with my sponsors, here we go. All right. So, like I've told you guys, once boss, now dreamers, they definitely helped me get this show going. They helped me get some wonderful guests that you guys have seen on the show. So they're definitely an organization you want to be a part of. And for those of you that like to, keep that face beat, I got a little something for you.
They wanna judge me, I'll testify. Catch me on Insta, I'm verified. 1, 2, 3 a day. I'm on my way to the best thing that you've ever seen. You know that you bow to the queen. You lose all your senses and reason. I'll give you something to believe in. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW. OMW, on my way to you. Good at what I do. I'm OMW.
All right. So, in order to get that motive, and by the way, the one that got me started on this is going to be on the show next week. So you can go to my website, asiajamal.com or asiajamal.net, whatever floats your boat. And up at the top, you will see motives, and click on there, and you'll get my special discounts on my site. You're welcome. All right, and we have Abella Eyewear, which you can also find on my website. And you see me sporting these glasses. You got the blue blockers, the shades. Yes, honey. So you can go on my website, and at the top, you see Abella Eyewear, and you'll click on there and get 30% off. You're welcome. All right. Now, listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to bring back to my very special. We had her on the show over a month ago. 2 months ago. And we're going to talk about what she is doing. She got some awesome stuff going on. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome, Teresa.
Hey,
Hey.
how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Glad to be back. Thank you so much for having me.
Good. I'm happy to have you. And Feel free to ask questions and leave comments. And yes, so I am so distracted right now. These, so these with the earphones being plugged in, it like I can hear myself, but in a delayed way.
Uh-huh.
So it is bizarre. Anyway, so last time that you were on the show, we were talking about these books that you were doing.
Yes.
And since then, you have enlightened me and let me know just how far you've gone with these books. So, first of all, let's talk about this book. I Am Beautiful.
Yes. I love
Pertaining
that
to the I Am
cover.
Beautiful coloring book. It is so lovely.
Yes, I'm very, very excited to be, releasing this book. This is my very first children's book, and I think it has just literally turned out amazing. And I can just already envision just the impact that is going to have. It's not just any old book and just a story. It is about, what is now, what our children are experiencing. It teaches lessons in a kid friendly way. But, as we spoke about before the show, it actually applies to us as adults as well. There are just some great lessons in there, but I really tried to focus on the photos, on the pictures, the illustrations as well. So even if your child can't read, I wanted them to be drawn to this book. So just a lot of time, effort, love, and as much wisdom as possible has really been poured, into this book. And I'm excited to serve, the younger generation.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to go through some of these things and then I want to dig deeper because we were talking about, just how deep this is. And then you have a challenge that you have going on as well. And yes, we're going to dig deep today. We're going to dig deep, sis. So let's look at this. She
Mm.
is ugly. He is fat. I don't like them. I don't say bad things about other people. So, what made you put this in the book?
Well, so the book, the title of the book is "I Am Beautiful."
Hmm.
So it talks to children and teaches them. It's not really talking about like your outer appearance. It teaches children that things like not spreading rumors about other people, not taking other kids' toys, that sharing with others, that these things are also a thing of beauty. So it's all really about perception. So it's not just the clothes that you're wearing or just your outer appearance, being kind to yourself, things like that, that these things are a thing of beauty. That particular thing is in there because, right before the pandemic, what were we hearing about every single day? I mean, you just could not go a day without hearing about bullying, and kids being impacted so much so by bullying that you know the suicide rates were going up because our kids are being so bullied, or there's something horrible going on at the school, there's this shooting, or that type of
Hmm.
thing because of bullying. But when we were growing up, we had sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will
Words
never
will
hurt
never
me,
hurt me.
you know
Yeah.
and I am telling you, when I was growing up, I believed that was just gold. And I think that has been such a blessing because to date, I just don't think that somebody could get on social media and say something about me that would just tear me down, because
Hmm.
we were taught not to live on the words of people. But guess what? Today, I call words the new dietary supplement
Hmm.
because we feed off of the words of others. So that really that particular page was put in the book to say, hey, I don't spread rumors, but I also put at the top what those rumors might be. Kids need examples.
Yeah. Interesting way of putting it. Our dietary supplement. Um, but And it's a blessing, that those things wouldn't tear you down. But the reality is, so many people have been. As part of the reason, actually, that bullying or um, online bullying has become a crime that you can actually be prosecuted for, because
Mm-hmm.
it's led so many people to harming themselves and committing suicide. So it's actually a really deep situation. And the first case that I heard was actually a minor that was affected by this. So it's a beautiful thing that you're addressing the minors in these books and helping them to understand that these things are not okay.
Right.
Look
I mean, we
at
want to get it. We want to get in there early because it's really connected to your self-esteem.
yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I don't spread rumors either. Ooh, doesn't that you started it off with the whole attitude and that person's ugly. Now we on to the rumors.
Yes. So
Yeah,
even if somebody is telling you something, that doesn't mean, you need to shut it down. It needs to stop with you. You don't need to go, even if you listen or you overhear, then you don't need to go and spread that.
yeah, that's a good point. And thinking about what time we're in right now and dealing with all of the social media, rumors is like it. You know, like I used to. I don't really watch her anymore, but I used to watch Wendy Williams, and then I had an awakening, and I was like, her whole show was about rumors. It's all about I heard, or we heard, or did you know, you
Right.
know. And I'm
Mm,
just like, that's deep. And some people have gotten really upset, because of things not being accurate. And that just seems to be the thing now. People are so into spreading these rumors, and people love it. They feed into this stuff.
absolutely. Absolutely. I well, look, I actually wrote and sent an email, looked up their address and sent an email to a media outlet, saying to them that they were creating anxiety in people
Hmm.
because they were just staying in a constant state of negativity. I mean, that stress and anxiety and things like that, they creep up on us very slowly. And, we're watching these trusted sources, and we're looking to them. We want, information, but the
Yeah.
way, that they were presenting was really just so negative that it was just really, it just got to a point that for me, it was hard to watch. And just knowing how that creates anxiety in people, I actually sent them an email to say, I really wish you would change the tone, because unless we
Hmm.
speak up and say something, you know, and not that they were looking for my input, but you know, as a consumer, as a customer, I thought that I should let them know. Now, of course, I have the choice to not watch them, and I no longer watch them. But sometimes we make a move, but we don't tell people why we're making that move. And I thought it was important for them, to know. Now they may or may not have already known. Maybe they were getting in on the game of
Mhm.
what everybody else is doing, spreading
Yeah. Yeah.
everything negative. You hear everything bad. You don't hear anything about the good things that are happening.
Yeah, you are absolutely right. It's like I feel like it's misery loves company, and so many people are dealing with a bunch of garbage. They want to hear somebody else possibly doing worse than they are.
Girl, I told you on the last time we met, I told you about that trash pickup day. So, I try to keep my
Yes.
trash can empty. I'm just trying to keep it empty. And if you're dealing with, we're talking about the children's books, but again, it's really a universal story. And if
Mhm.
you are constantly allowing yourself to be subjected to a barrage of negative things, eventually it has to weigh on you in some type of way. And like I
Yeah.
said, stress and anxiety and depression, those are things that most times we don't recognize until they're just already there, and we're like consumed. We're really like in trouble, and we don't necessarily realize like how we got there. So you just have to be mindful of those things. So participating in just negative conversations, even if it's just the people who are around you, just constantly listening
Mhm.
to that, I would suggest as an adult that you kind of start infusing your different people into your circle, or start limiting, your exposure. So I wanted to, with that page, teach children that, hey, I'm not going to say that you aren't going to hear rumors. You're going to hear them. Sometimes your friends are going to, come to tell you, oh, did you see so and so fell on the playground today, or
Mhm.
whatever the case may be.
Right.
That you can stop that by just not spreading
Agreed. Agreed.
it.
Let's see what we got here. I brush my teeth every day.
Now,
That's so cute.
now most parents know about that struggle to get the kids to brush their. Did you brush your
I
teeth?
do.
Did you brush your teeth? No, you didn't. Go back in there. So
Listen, I
letting them
don't.
know that that's a thing of beauty.
It is. So I'm not gonna mention which child, but but I took my kids to the dentist, and one of them was asked, "Well, how often do you brush your teeth?" And he says, "A few times a week." I was like, "What do you mean? Like how long?"
Like, how long has this been going on?
It's not like I got little itty bitty children, so I'm like, oh my gosh, like people don't realize though, this affects your health. You're not
Absolutely.
keeping your mouth clean, you're not keeping your body clean. You got all kinds of germs and things festering, and it can cause you to be sick.
Absolutely. Look, I'm gonna in 2022 at some point I'll have to come back with there's a dentist and a hygienist that I am collaborating on a book about that connection, and it's called Put Your Health Where Your Mouth Is. And
Oh,
so we are going to be talking about how your dental health can impact other
okay.
areas. Yeah.
Good stuff. I look forward to it. Let's see what we got. I love to share.
Yeah. So
Oh,
those two characters, don't you love how they look?
yes.
They are so, so cute. So that's Sam and Pam. So Sam and Pam have work to do, and they're going to be in many books. Because I am is really powerful, and so I am a lot of things. So we're starting with beauty, but there will be other I am books, and so Sam and Pam are going to be carrying out their message.
Yeah. Yeah. And sharing is caring. Oh, so good. I am beautiful. Yes, I am.
Yes, that's how the book starts out, with Miss Pam saying how she is beautiful. She's telling herself.
Yeah.
She's not waiting on other people to tell her, and she doesn't care if they agree either.
Hmm. And let's talk about for a minute why that's so important. Because and I've mentioned so many times, and it's funny that I'm mentioning social media because, boom, here I am, a part of it. But still, it's become such a big thing. It started long before social media, but now it's like, well, if you don't look a certain way, if you're not rocking certain gear, if you're not, doing certain things with your look, then it's like, are you beautiful? I thought it was interesting that I hear people say, light skin is still in, or, dark skin wins kind of thing. Or, plus size, that's what's up. That's what's beautiful. That's what's in. I'm like, how are we dealing with our looks as fads? Like, this is how we were created. It's not like we get to take it off and like, okay, well, this is yesterday's news. I'm gonna look like this now. This is actually how we were born. So like,
Absolutely.
what are we actually teaching people by saying, well, this is in now, but that was so yesterday. What are we really saying there?
Right. And you know what? That's why it's so important to start, when they're children, to let them know that their voice is the voice that means the most,
Mm-hmm.
and that their definition of themselves, or our definition of ourselves is really what matters the most.
Yeah.
If you believe, I say it all the time, if I say you're beautiful and you say you're not, guess what? You're right. Because whatever it is that you think is really what is the most important. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I want to work with children, at an early age to teach them to not compare themselves, to others.
Mm-hmm.
I really believe that the reason why bullying is so effective is because our self-identity is not clearly defined. We are defining ourselves by what others say as opposed to what we have already established. So I want this book to be something very enjoyable. Like I said, that's why we really work very hard on the pictures as well as on the storyline, because we want it to be a tool for parents, to read with their kids and over and over again. Yeah, we want it to be a thing of beauty, something that they're drawn to, but we want it to be valuable and to teach lessons, without it really being boring, but lessons that a child can take with them throughout life.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah. So I make sure to clean my room even when I don't like it.
Yes. So that's beauty, when you are keeping your things organized and picked up, and so we're in that page, we're teaching kids to, keep their spaces clean, but also to push through, to not give up, even when it's something that you don't like to do, but you know that it's something that's going to be good for you, to push through.
Absolutely. My phone got a mind of its own today.
And then
Turn this
also
off.
to just identify that you're not alone, because most times when we're in a situation, especially when it's something that we don't like, or
Mm-hmm.
it's something hurtful or painful, we think that it's the first time it's ever happened. We're the
Mm-hmm.
only one that it's ever happened to. And that if we tell somebody, that they won't understand. So
Yeah.
this kind of shows you, that hey, just like you identified with that teeth cleaning thing, it kind
Mhm.
of says, hey, there are probably some other kids or some other people out there that are going through the same thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know it's not just kids. There's plenty of adults out there. They
Absolutely,
rot their whole mouth out.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's all of this is it's like self-care situation,
Yes.
and I do want to get deeper into it because you know all the stuff that I dealt with up until now, even to the show that I did last week, it's like, buddy, I thought I was doing this stuff by myself. I thought, I was the only one going through these particular things. And it was driving me nuts, even scary at some points.
Mhm.
Um, so it's good to know that there are resources out there to help to get us to focus on ourselves better and to take better care of ourselves.
Mhm.
And, mentally, physically, emotionally, these are things that we need to focus on to do better.
Right.
And you were talking to me about some other things that you were working on, even getting deeper into that. So before we get deeper into that, I'm going to take a brief break, like we do. Y'all know it's the time to go and run, get your, something to drink, a snack real quick, real quick. I ain't taking that long. But for those that are watching the YouTube, this is what I want you to do. Subscribe. Thank you very much. And now we're going to take a brief break. Be right back. Hi, I'm Asia Jamal Rogers, and I'm a singer, songwriter, choreographer, voice actor, and I'm the creator and talk show host of P.U.R.E Live. P.U.R.E is an acronym for Perfectly Undefined Raw Elegance. So naturally, we want our content to be pure, raw, and elegant. It airs live every Friday at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and Facebook. And if you'd like to see all of the episodes, you can reach it at asiajamal.com, ASIAJAMAL.com. Or if you'd like to be on the show, you can reach me at asia@asiajamal.com. Hope to see you soon. All right. Hope to see you soon. So, some of the things that we were talking about before, I thought was really powerful. Was dealing with these other things that you were talking about, these challenges that you're doing. Um, I'd like us to dig into that because there was some exercises that you said you had been doing that I was amazed about. So tell us about that.
So, I do have. So we were talking earlier about me writing the books. I actually have a publishing company, so that's kind of a separate facet. And through that publishing company, I help people to showcase their voices through media and print. And so primarily, if anyone wants to write a book, I actually help them to write their own books and get them published, as well as help them to market their book and leverage it to do whatever it is that they want to do. But I also have a company called the Mind Shift Academy. And so, it really focuses on self-care. So I say that I talk about self-care and success with a twist. And the reason why it's a twist is because I believe that self-care is really composed of 4 pillars. It's composed of your mindset, your spiritual health, your physical health, and your financial health. Because I truly believe that you can be great in one area, but of course you can be lacking in some other areas. And you can lack so much in the other areas that they pull that one good area down. But all of it is a reflection of how you care for yourself. It's not separate. So how you take care of your money, how you budget, how you keep yourself in debt, and all those things, that is a reflection of your own self-care. How you take care of your physical health, that is a reflection of your self-care, your self-love, your own self-affirmation. It is what things that we are doing to ourselves. And so we need to pay attention to those areas. So what I have been doing, I am actually working on a course that will launch in January 2022, and it is called Manifest 360. So look, Asia, can I really be like real with you?
Yes, please.
Let me tell you, I have been walking around, lately, and I have been consumed with what if we just had crazy faith? Like, what if we just,
Okay.
if you just sat there and wrote on a piece of paper like your 10 wildest things, like, I did my top 10, like how much money I want to make a month, what kind of time I want to be able to spend, with my husband, places I would like to travel next year, what I want my health to be like when I go back to my next doctor's appointment. I mean, what I want my, my circle of people to be like. Who do I want in that circle? What do I want my relationships to be like? What kind of house do I want to live in? What do I want the atmosphere in my home to be? I mean, just what kind of vehicles do I want to drive? Do I want them to be paid for? I mean, just having like crazy faith. Flip it to the positive, because if you think about it, really, we have a lot of negative stuff, not only that we face, but we have a lot of negativity that is going through our minds. So a lot of it is really just perception. So I have been testing out this course just to see how successful it will be and the results and transformations that I can expect to see from people who are taking the course. Believe it or not, the people who are taking the course currently are all men. So I don't know how that happened. And they're usually tough nuts to crack.
Yeah.
And it has been, so I know that it is powerful because the results, they are coming to me saying that this is life changing. And they're just halfway through. So, it is a 12-week intensive. And then really, I'm going to say it's a 16-week course overall, because there will be an additional bonus 4 weeks for people to kind of debrief. Because when I say that, I'm really focused on your self-love, your self-care, and how you talk to yourself. I mean, and I'm just coming after it for 2022. So say, for instance, we were having conversations, and, one of the guys was mentioning that, he just felt that his wife like valued other people more than she valued him, or that she was listening to other people more than she was listening to him, or that she didn't want whatever it was, this interaction, with him. And he was talking about, and I'm just thinking that we're not going to make it. Now, we know that divorce and all that kind of stuff is high, right? Even before the pandemic, but since the pandemic, it has definitely risen. Well, I asked him the question. I said, did she tell you that? Well, no. Well, where'd you get that from? And so, well, she's over talking to the neighbor, and I don't want her talking to the neighbor. I wanted her, to come back over, and, and he was just like going through all this stuff. So I was telling him, there are things that we tell ourselves, but this is what I want you to do. I want you to ask her. Just ask her. I'm like, you're thinking that she's valuing this person. She might be over there asking that person about those begonias out in front of the fence. And he just like burst out laughing, because I haven't seen their house, so I don't know if there were begonias there or not, but obviously there were. And he just thought that was like, hilarious. And I'm like, so, because when she came back to the house, he's all upset, and she's looking at him like she don't even know what he's talking about. Now, right. That's his example, but I have my own examples of that with my husband, where I've just been mad, girl. I've been mad, told him off, and all kind of stuff in my head, right? He doesn't even know that I'm even having these emotions. And I've gotten mad, had the argument, and resolved it all without him, but it's directed towards him. So, we just have all of these, perceptions. And there were just a lot of things. Then I had there's another guy that's in the class, and he is suffering from an injury. And so because of that, he's disabled. Well, but he's still very high functioning. So, but he doesn't work anymore, and his wife goes to work. So he's like, well, I'm here every day all by myself. I can't hang out with my friends because I can't move as fast as they can. He just had this whole list of things. And so the challenge is, the first challenge that everyone had to go through was, I had them to get a journal. It doesn't matter. It could be a composition book, but every night, write one thing that you're grateful for. Just one thing that you're grateful for. And I don't mean it has to be that you were out there and you created world peace. But it could be something just as simple as when you turn your lights on, guess what? They come on. That when you went to your refrigerator, there was food in there to eat.
Amen.
Those guys just, and these are guys, and my husband said guys don't journal, but they have been with me. They have been willing to take every challenge, and so they started writing their gratitude. And I can tell you that at this point, when I meet with them, none of them complain about anything. Because the guy
Amen.
who was disabled, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, do you think that you're a victim? He felt he was a victim. I'm like, no, you're like a survivor. I mean, he had like a tremendous injury where he's endured 28 surgeries. But I'm like, oh my God, you're walking around, you're in your home, it's a beautiful home. You're not worried about it being foreclosed on. You're not worried about how you're going to
Amen.
pay any of your bills. Because guess what?
Amen.
There are a lot of people who get sick. They don't even go through all those surgeries, but they get sick. They're not able to bring income into their home and they're struggling financially. He's not in that position. So I'm like, you have so much, to be grateful for. So I just want you to start every night, just write down one thing that you're grateful for. So that was their first challenge, is doing that. The second challenge was about perception. Perception meaning that if you feel that someone has said something that it hurt your feelings, or even if it was a look, someone gave you a look, or you thought that it was a look, go to them and say, hey, this happened, you said this, and it made me feel this way. Is that what you intended?
Hmm.
See, that's learning to be an effective communicator. So instead of just being all mad and hurt about it, go to the person and say, hey, when you looked at me this way, they may not even realize that they were even looking at you. They may have just been thinking about something else, or there could have been something else that happened in their life that had that expression on their face. And it really had nothing to do with you at all. But it made me feel this way. Is that what you intended? Now, if the person turns to you and says yes, guess what? Then you know how to have, like, now you need to have a different conversation and get to the bottom of what that's all about. Then now we have progressed, and they are in a very difficult challenge that is requiring me to be in contact with them more often, and that is the Book of Lies.
Yes. Yes. Let's talk about that. I
The
remember us
Book
talking
of
about this. Yes.
Lies.
Let's get into that.
So, what the Book of Lies now? The Book of Lies is about. This course is really for people who are looking for, like, their breakthrough, and they're ready to finally get it right, and you're really ready to strengthen your self identity, your self image. So the Book of Lies, I had them to get a book. Again, I want you to get a book, a journal, something that you are attracted to writing in. I want you to get a good pen, one that feels comfortable in your hand, because I really want you to use it. So in the Book of Lies, what they have to do is every day they have to write one thing that's a lie, something that someone told them, even if the person that told them this lie was themselves,
All right.
even
All
if the
right.
voice that they heard was their own.
Okay.
And they
Okay.
have to identify that this is a lie. And so we're confronting these things, breaking these things, down. But the nice part about this, because I know there might be some listeners out there going, "Ooh, she's like all in her students' business." Well, trust me, I do have, like, a clinical background. However, they don't have to share with me. But what I do teach in the class is that you do have to be honest with yourself. And that is the best way, really, to be successful, to be productive, to have that 6, 7, 8 figure business, to have that great marriage, to have great friendships, whatever, to get that promotion on that job, is to be honest with you. You
Yeah.
have to be honest with yourself. Now they tickle me because they say that every night they take their book outside and bury it in the backyard. That they wrap it in a plastic bag and they bury it outside. So that's kind of the running joke. That's
Know
kind
what
of
you
the running
know.
joke. Yeah, that's the running joke that their wives are going, what are you, why you keep going in the backyard?
Hilarious.
Because when we because when they started this, they said, do we have to share this book with anyone? And I told them, no, they do not have to share the book with anyone. But I tell you what, since they've been working in that book, they say it has completely changed their lives. That
Wow.
it is making them get in touch with themselves. So I'm so excited. I'm excited for them. You
Yeah.
know, and I'm excited for the people who will become, you know, a part of this class. It is going to be live. It is not going to be an on-demand course, at least not, you know, right now, because again, it is a new um, course and I want to see, you know, how people are doing. And I know that when you start, you know, having someone to confront these things, that, you know, it's good to just have a sounding board. And I'm a great listener. And, you know, I just have a way of, you know, introducing a different perspective. And
Mhm.
I think that that's needed, you know, in something like this.
So, how do people get involved in this?
So you can actually go to iamteresac.com. So I am Teresa, no H, C.com. There you can actually, you know, become a part of my email list. But if you just keep that web address, shortly the course will actually be on there. And then you can actually register for the course. So you can get on my email list, and I will send you information, of course, when the course comes out, or you can check back, and because pretty soon the course will actually be up.
Okay.
Hmm. It'll
So,
definitely
I
be up.
am Teresa
It'll,
C, like that.
yep. Hmm. And it'll
Mm.
definitely be up for Black Friday, because we're going to do a Black Friday special.
Okay.
Yes.
All
So,
right.
yes. So it will be up there. So definitely check that out. I am teresac.com. And the course is going to be Manifest 360. So it's really like a total, you know, revamp for your self esteem. So, like I said, self care and success with a twist.
Okay. And y'all, before the show, she was reading me. I'm just letting you know.
Look, she's talking to a person that's all about self-care. Because you know what? Self-care now I'm gonna tell you now, I have my self-care things that I like to do. I love, you know, good baths and candles and, you know, all of that stuff. But self-care is not just about that. You know, it's not just about that. I'm telling you, because if you don't take care of if you keep yourself, you know, in debt in such a way that it is really uncomfortable and it pushes you to live in check to check, that introduces a stressor that, I mean, you don't even know that you're stressed out. We think that
Right.
just everybody has debt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
we think that, but guess what? It's not true. It's
Yeah.
mm, I mean, you know, to live, and the only, just think about it. If the only bill that you had to pay was your mortgage and your utilities, what would that do for your life?
Oh, Lord. Oh, happy day.
I mean, car paid for, you know, you
Hmm.
got credit cards, but nothing is on them or very low. What would your life be like?
It would be awesome.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, you know, yeah, and so we talk about that. I mean, the so in the financial piece, and I'm not talking about, just things that I'm imagining. I am a super positive person, but I have struggled with negative voices, in my head. The spiritual piece, I am a very spiritual person. I am a Christian. So I am a Christian. I believe in God, but I have endured church hurt and separated myself from the church, for a while. And, from the church, not from God, but I did separate myself and stop fellowshipping with the church, and I came back. So, I understand, what that is like. Financially, I share with the students in my course how I paid off over $70,000 worth of debt in a year and a half. And actually, yes, and was paying down on my mortgage, so much so that when we sold our home, we walked away with 80% of the value of our home in our hand.
Wow.
Mhm. Just through, some simple systems, some things. So I teach about how to talk to creditors, how to take the money that you are making right now and create a system that will work for you to actually pay down your debt. Yeah.
Mm.
And still
Wow.
feel like, you have some wiggle room and some money, to use to, enjoy your life.
We might not have to. We might have to talk a little more after the show.
I talk about how to teach children, about money. I don't have my own personal children, but I do have 5 godchildren. So how do you get them engaged in being interested in money? I didn't grow up where my parents were sitting us down around the table and we were talking, about money. I have parents and grandparents that are aging. So I talk about how to prepare our seniors, how to
Yeah.
prepare for taking care of them, because it's difficult when you're still in the workplace and they're aging and they're getting ill, and that what types of things do you need to know? So that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I talked to my kids about it too, but something is definitely slipping through the cracks.
Well, I mean, sometimes, just think, with kids, they need like examples. So sometimes it's not just what you say, is, what they see you doing, but then also there are some ways that you can just get them engaged. Some things that you can do to get them engaged with money to where, they can see it. I even use some of these things with adults, right? So say, for instance, like one of the challenges with the adults is I have them to go, so many days, and they have to pay for everything in cash.
Hmm.
Now, just like a child, if you give a child money and you tell them that they have to buy it with their own money, what do?
And I count them pennies.
And they don't want to buy it, right?
Mm-mm.
They'll come to you and mama, I need, and mama, I want. But when you say, well, you have money, you can go ahead and buy it. Mm, I don't know. It doesn't look as it's not as exciting, right? Well, the same
No.
thing with us as adults. If you start paying for stuff with cash, oh, it's a game changer. You start, but as long as you swiping that card, is if you don't have a handle on it, it can get away from you.
Yeah.
So we have fun. It's not all look. It's not all persecution, because I know that last thing was throwing folks.
Ooh,
that's
buddy.
that's like woo wee. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to work through some lies myself, and I'm helping my children to do the same.
Oh, I mean,
Um,
listen, we all tell each other lies. You want to start that business and you just can't get it going, and oh, we can, especially culturally, we can come up with, they won't allow me, they're gonna keep me from, they don't like it when they who did
mm-hmm.
somebody call you today and tell you better not start that business? I mean, I'm not, did they? It's funny when you say it out loud, right? But
Yeah.
did somebody call you? Did somebody call you directly and tell you that you better not start that business, or you better not
Right.
work on that business, or you better not write that book, or you can't write that book, or oh, I'm watching you. Did did
Mm-hmm.
it did something come in the mail? I mean, Was there a sticky note on your windshield when you went outside? I mean, I'm just trying to let's see that needs to
How
go
hard
in
to
your
say
face. It's funny, but we will believe these things and just hold on to them for dear life, and we're paralyzed to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Even we'll even convince ourselves that nothing works, right? We're trying to get better at something. Well, I'm tired because nothing works. Nothing works.
Right.
I'm, I'm pretty sure you don't have the capability to have tried everything on the planet.
I mean, did you even try that thing that you was talking about?
Right?
Did you even, we get it started. I mean, or we have this great idea, but we run up against some portion of it that we've never done before. And quite honestly, sometimes it just scares us. And then we just shut down, or we
Absolutely
don't know
right.
how, or we don't know who to ask, or we feel that if we ask somebody, it's going to cost a lot of money. And trust me, there are people out there who are charging a lot of money for things. But, if you have time and patience, you can Google and YouTube most everything.
Facts. And if there's anybody that knows, that is my daughter. She has learned how to be an artist through YouTube.
Really.
Stuff that people go to college for. YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a child so young sketch so well, and learn. It wasn't like, oh, she's been doing this all her life. She is 11 and she started 2 years ago, and
Mm.
she does better than me, and I have been doing most of my life.
Mm. Okay. Yeah.
Well, there's a will, there's a way.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we do have to stop lying to ourselves, um, and get rid of that element of fear, because I think that contributes to the lies.
Mm-hmm.
We're afraid of taking those steps. We're afraid of what might happen, what could happen. And
Right.
it's like
Right.
lies feed the fears, and the fears feed more lies.
Right, right. So,
It's a
in our
cycle.
mindset section of the course, we talk about, is it just important to identify these things? But, we
Hmm.
talk about, how to stop self sabotaging yourself, how to get unstuck, and become more
Hmm.
productive.
Yeah.
Also, it's important to set realistic goals. So not just setting goals, but things that are actually realistic and achievable. Or sometimes maybe you have a huge goal and not, now I'm a dreamer, and I'm a woman who will jump off the cliff and ask, where's my parachute, on my way down. So I'm one of those people. So, so no goal or dream is really too big, but sometimes it's just our approach. You have to actually break it down sometimes into smaller pieces so that you
Hmm.
start where you are and then work your way to that big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I know I'm working. Like one of the things that people get on me about is taking vacation,
Mm-hmm.
taking time off. And I'm just like, yeah, I know, I
Oh,
should, I
yes.
will, I'll work on it. And I have not, because it's like, I get so nervous. I get straight up anxiety about not working.
Mm,
Like, well, what if something happens? What if something goes wrong? What if they feel they don't need me while I'm gone? What if, just all these
and
what
if they
ifs.
do, guess what? Those weren't your real people.
Facts.
The real people for you are those that are going to be there, and the new ones, that you are going to get. Because quite honestly, like I said, if you don't take care of you, then you're not going to be here to serve anybody.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely right.
hmm it's important. And, I've put that in my top 10 crazy faith things, like the places that I want to travel. I'm one of those people too who rarely take a vacation, but now I'm like, you know what, I'm I want to go to Kenya. I want to go to, it's called the Giraffe Hotel. I want to go to the Giraffe
Hmm.
Hotel in Kenya. I'm already an international speaker. I've traveled throughout Canada and Europe. I would love to go and be a speaker in Africa.
Okay.
And I want them to pay for me to come. So, hey, anybody out there that has a
Mhm.
connection to Africa, but I want them to pay for me and an assistant to come. I don't want to travel by myself. Last time I traveled by
Mhm.
myself, and oh my God, I thought I was going to die. Carrying my bags and trying to keep myself, with the different
Mhm.
time zones, keep myself, in order. So I need a person to go with me. And yeah, so I want to do that. I want to go to Holland and, throughout Australia. So, and yes, and I'll vlog it. Um, you know, I'll do that. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
that sounds good. Y'all heard her.
So
Make
I'm inviting
it
people to definitely check it out. Visit my website.
happen.
You'll see more about the, a more serious side of me. But I'm always, this is what you see is, what you get. I always, have fun. But, I really want the people that work with me to get results.
Absolutely. I believe in you. I know
Yes,
you know what you're talking about.
ma'am.
And since you didn't check me and read me up and down, um,
Look, before we go, do we want to talk about, how to maintain and sustain ourselves?
yes, if you can in the next few minutes.
Okay, so just real quick, I really wanted to talk about this because right now we are all, it's impacting all of us. So if you're having anxiety about it, guess what? All of us are facing rising prices and shortages
Mhm.
of things. We're going to the stores and finding that the shelves are not, as full, and then the things that are there, they are, they're pricey. And even for those of us
Mhm.
who think that we can afford it, guess what? If you're financially conscious, we are paying attention to it. People who
Yeah.
have money, guess what? They focus on keeping it. And that's that's definitely what I think about. So here are some
Mhm.
things that me and my family are doing to actually be prepared for and sustain and still feel like we're living a great life during these times. And I just kind of jotted them down. I'm just going to go through them real quickly. So one thing that we're doing is we're cooking at home more. So hey, guess what? Even if you're
Mhm.
not a person who really knows how to cook well, look, you can Google recipes. You don't even have to buy cookbooks,
Mhm.
anymore. You can Google recipes. You can even
Yeah.
Google simple recipes or quick and easy recipes or recipes under $20 or $10
Yeah.
or, those types of things. So we're cooking at home more. We do still go out, but what my husband and I, it's just the two of us. So we used to go out quite a bit during the week. Now we just kind of go out on the weekend if we do go out, and we pick one of those days, not both. And then when we go out, we actually typically get an appetizer if we want to. That's kind of a splurge. We get an entree and we share it. So we don't get
Mhm.
two entrees, that cuts the bill, in half. We share it. And these days they give you such large portions anyway. Really,
Okay.
most times we would get two entrees and we would bring home two carryouts.
Hmm.
And then we wouldn't, very rarely would we go back and eat the carry out. So we ended up throwing that away. So we just get one entree. We kind of talk about and decide on what, is something that both of us would like, and we share it. Number two, when you do go to the restaurant, avoid getting drinks. Drinks are actually going up, really up high. I mean, even simple things like getting a
Mhm.
Coke. The other day I went somewhere and a soda was $3.50. What? We could get like a case or something.
What?
I mean, honestly, even
Yeah.
through like fast food places like Taco Bell, $3.50
Mhm.
for a large soda. So,
What?
yes, ma'am. So skip it. Just forget that. Drink water and have your drink or juice or whatever. Have that at home. Number two,
Hmm.
shop in bulk. Like places like Costco and Sam's. If there
Mhm.
are things that that you know that you're going to use these things in your home, like sugar, butter, flour, cornmeal, your seasonings, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Get those things in bulk. They're like really inexpensive. You can get like a 25-pound bag of sugar at Costco for under $10. So, I mean, shop in bulk. Um, and stock up on those things. Make it a habit of every time you go to the store, no matter what. Since the pandemic started, every time I go to the store, I get a package of toilet paper and a package of paper towel, period. No matter what. I don't care what I'm going in there for. If I'm going to get envelopes, I'm going to get paper towel and toilet paper. Just, those are
Yeah,
things. Just have those
that's
things.
how with water.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, if you are a couponer, I'm not really a great couponer. I need to be better at it. But use your coupons or pay attention to your in-store things. Like we have a store here that does a lot of buy one get one free. So pay attention to those sales when they're having those things. They can really work in your favor. Stock up your freezer. So foods that that you like, that you always eat, your
Mm-hmm.
meat, and even frozen vegetables and fruits, because
Mm-hmm.
we're seeing that fresh fruits and vegetables are becoming in short supply, and they are increasing in price. I mean, the other day I was in the store, one grapefruit was $2. One.
Mm.
Two oranges, $2. So they're a dollar
Oh
a
boy.
piece. So yeah, so they are really increasing in price. So frozen fruits and vegetables, are, according to research, they're supposed to be, those that are flash frozen, they're supposed to still have the same nutrients as fresh. So don't forget those and stock
Mm-hmm.
your freezer. If you don't have one, purchase a small freezer, like an extra freezer. So we have an extra freezer that we have been able to store food in. Um, Keep your gathering small. So the holidays are coming up. So instead of, and when I'm saying that, for people like myself, my husband and I, we love, and did I say love, to entertain, and everybody likes to come to our house for any holiday, every holiday, Easter, it doesn't matter. They like to come, and we can have 30 to 50 people, in our home, literally. So we don't do that anymore. Keep your gathering small. Or if you are going to gather and you're the go-to person or go-to couple that cooks, how about asking those other people, not necessarily to potluck, but maybe to contribute, towards the food. Maybe someone can
Mm-hmm.
contribute a turkey, or, you know, contribute to the pot of purchasing things. And then my last little tip is the insider circle. So identify those. I have what's called an insider circle. So identify those people who that you would be able to depend on them, and they would be able to depend on you, or you would be there for them if something were to happen. So there's a group of us that I've identified eight people who are in my insider circle, and I actually
Mm-hmm.
created a special text group on my phone, so we communicate with one another about sales, about things that we see, happening around town. We keep each other abreast of like new information. They are also clinicians, so we're keeping up abreast of information about COVID and other things that we are hearing and seeing, in our workplaces and the things that we do. But we also know that we can depend on one another. Like, we've identified, if something happened and we had to leave our home, like whose home, if all these homes, if 70 of these homes got foreclosed on, whose house are we going to go to and save? And we're going to put all our money together, and we're going to be straight.
Oh
That's real
wow.
talk right there.
Yeah, it is.
If something
Yeah.
happened to these jobs, or something happened, what are we
Mm-hmm.
going to do? We're not going to let one another fail. So we've identified whose house is probably the largest. We're going to combine all our money together. We're going to bunk up, and we're going to live good in these houses.
Okay.
We ain't not going to worry about it. We're going to let those other houses go. But then also identify who you don't want to be tangled up with, so you can get your story straight. We don't want to be breaking up. We don't want to break up any friendships, during this time. So, but we've identified, like, whose house is the closest. Like, if I had to, if something happened and we had to walk, whose house is like the
Hmm.
closest house, that we could actually get to.
Hmm.
We all have like things like first aid kits, and we have enough masks between all of us that probably would last us for a year. So I mean, being
Hmm.
conscientious, somebody has the alcohol, somebody has the hand sanitizer. I mean, we have literally come together and worked together like as a team, having cash on hand. And I don't mean cash that you can get out of the bank at the ATM machine, cash physically on hand. You don't have to tell anybody how much cash you have or where you are keeping it, but cash that you
Hmm.
can get your hands on, so that if something were to happen and credit cards aren't working, they've hacked systems, credit cards aren't working, you need to get gas or you need to get in an Uber or
Hmm.
whatever the case may be, cash on hand. So have cash on hand somewhere. Also, keep your identifications like your driver's license, passports, birth certificates, all that stuff. You should have like a little mini safe somewhere, something that's fireproof that you can
Hmm.
just grab, pick up, and go. Not
Yeah.
honey, but wait a minute. I think, where's oh, no. It
No,
needs
no, 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 no.
it needs to be in something that you can grab and just pick up and go. So those are my tips for, really staying like financially sound. My last tip to you, and you are not going to believe it, but I'm telling you, beans and rice.
Mm,
You should
I
have
believe it.
beans and rice. If you have beans, rice, and butter, you will not be in the food line. There are so many
Yeah.
things you can make with beans and rice. You might get sick of eating beans and rice, but you're not going. But you're not going to have to go to the food pantry. I mean, a cup of rice can be a pot. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely right.
it can be a pot. It can feed a family. So
Hmm.
you have. I mean, I'll tell you my story real quick. I went to Costco and I was buying all this stuff and I was like, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. So not everyone can go in and all of a sudden you're spending $500, at a time, or eight
Yeah.
hundred dollars on food, and that's what food and groceries or cleaning supplies, and that's what people were doing when the pandemic started. And but not
Mhm.
everybody can do that. But I was in Costco and I was buying all this stuff, and then the next week I would go back and I'd buy more stuff. And then I noticed this one aisle, they had 50 pounds of rice and 50 pounds of beans. And I was going, who in the world is buying 50 pounds of rice and 50 pounds of beans? Because I was like, Lord, if we had that much, that we could live off of that like for the rest of our lives. I kind of made a joke about it. Well, the
Mhm.
next time I went to Costco, guess what? They had a sign over the rice and beans saying only one bag per customer. One bag? And
Wow.
I said, well,
Wow.
who is somebody buying more than one bag of 50 pounds? And I laughed at it. But guess what?
Mhm.
As I was driving down the street, the light bulb came on and I was like, oh my God. And I was like, there are some cultures that's what they eat is beans and rice. And I was like, if you have 50 pounds of beans and 50 pounds of rice, you gonna make it.
Mhm.
And I could not wait to get back to Costco. And I bought my 50 pounds of bag of of
Of rice
rice,
and beans.
and I bought 25-pound bags of beans because I got some red beans and I got some pinto beans. And I have been
Okay.
at peace ever since, because I know that no matter what, that my family will have food to eat. Now, again, they
Hmm.
might not like it. My husband might start complaining, but because he's tired of eating that, but we're not going to be hungry, nor will we have to stand in the food line. And that cost me $37 and something cents. So for under
Hmm.
$50, so there's my tip.
Well, all right. Those are some good tips, and I know about them. I sure do. So yeah, we at the end of the show. But ladies and gentlemen, please, come back. You're going to see this face, Miss Teresa. You're going to see her some more. She got some other people to share with you guys coming soon as well. So be here Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. We will also be doing some Asia Speaks 411 coming soon. And stay tuned. We got so much more for you. And remember to embrace God's perfect design, which is you.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
We